Hello everyone, this is Drew with Drew Drives at Grubbs Family Dealerships, and today let's go for a drive in this 2024 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce. This vehicle has a turbocharged 4-cylinder with 280 horsepower and an 8-speed automatic transmission. I really like these column-mounted shift paddles. They're really nice, super high quality. I like the column-mounted paddles in Alfa Romeos and Maseratis. You also have the start-stop button on the steering wheel. You also have a digital gauge cluster. And I believe that's the same one you'll find in like the Grecale and the newer Maseratis. The screen is still like the older design. You have DNA, which is like your drive modes. I'm honestly not too sure what they mean though. Use a reverse camera, it's alright, could be a lot better. You have red seats, which look really good. Nice comfort, lateral support. You have the Alfa Romeo logo on the top. On the headrest, you have a panoramic sunroof, Harman Kardon sound system. Let's walk around this Alfa Romeo. I say the steering wheel and the shift paddles are the best part about the interior. This has like the wheels that are similar to ones on the Quadrifoglio. Red Alfa Romeo brakes. You also have the new daytime running light design. Veloce badge on the side. Here are the rear seats. These are the revised taillights on the facelifted Stelvio. You have dual outlet exhaust, which look pretty good. This is a pretty good looking SUV. And here's your trunk with the little cargo cover. But I really like those revised taillights and the Q4 badge. Q4 is all-wheel drive. Let's get this car out on the road and see how it drives. I also like those foot pedals. Those look kind of nice. You have a wireless charging trays. You can see my phone in there. Yeah, the screen's a little, you know, this is probably not, the gauge cluster is way nicer than the screen. The screen is still the old screen that was there before. The resolution's pretty subpar for the most part, in my opinion. But yeah, I guess it gets the job done. I wish more manufacturers would use column-mounted shift paddles. I love column-mounted paddles because they look amazing, feel amazing, especially metal ones like this. And you always know where the paddles are, because when they're attached to the steering wheel, you have to look for the paddle when making turns and everything like that. But in this, you always know where they are, where they're at, and they're just so satisfying to click them when you're shifting with a metal shift paddle. That's pretty awesome. And that's a really interesting turn signal chime. I haven't heard something like that before. I did notice on the gauge cluster, there's really not that much configurability. I can't really see much. Like, there's really not much you can do with that cluster. Nice paddle. I've never driven a Giulia or Stelvio Quadrifoglio. I need to get my hands on one of those ones and make a video on that. I've always wondered how those drive. I heard they're pretty good. Seems like you also have adaptive cruise control in this vehicle. And I'm trying to figure out how I can adjust that left screen. I literally can't figure out how to do that. It won't let me do anything with that. The center of the gauge cluster will show you your speed, and then the right side you can switch between like fuel economy, trip computer, and a few other things. But on the left side, I can't see anything. Let me know in the comments below if there is a way to actually access something on the left side of the screen, because I personally cannot figure that out. But driving wise, it's decently quick. The seats feel really comfortable. Ride quality is pretty good too. And as I said, I absolutely love the steering wheel and the paddles. They look really cool. Feels good. I like the perforation. I like the gripping points on the steering wheel. It's pretty good. But it's overall very nice. This section of the car, and I think putting a digital gauge cluster was important, because before it had like regular gauges with a little center screen with a not so good resolution, so this makes a big difference. Transmission shifts well. It's very responsive. You can hear the shifting is being so responsive. That's pretty cool. And I like these paddles because I just keep my fingers there and then keep one hand on the wheel. Like, you can literally drive like this. Just downshift, upshift. It's pretty awesome. Let me see. Your phone may slide around a bit in that charging tray. But yeah, the ride is pretty good. I like it. You see that little noise from the metal. Pretty cool. And I like this interior trim. The dash actually is made of leather too. Like, the touch points, actually here there's some hard touch plastic and on the doors, but on the top of the dash for the most part is pretty good materials, which is cool to see. It's definitely a quality improvement over the earlier Alfa Romeo Stelvios and Giulias, which had a lot of really bad parts in the interior. Like before, it was just all plastic over here. The gauge cluster was really like outdated, and the screen's still pretty outdated, to be honest, but like overall the points of touching in the interior is a lot better, like what you're gonna really touch and feel in the car. You also have a heated steering wheel and heated seats, which is cool to see. Yeah, it's pretty good. Let's just like scroll around the screen a little bit before we conclude this video. So, hit vehicle information, drive mode Explorer, D. So D is sport, N is normal, A is also normal. Engine torque, so you have a torque limiter on the A, but you can configure this around if you want. So that's where I can use the touchscreen. Explore drive modes on this, which is cool. Performance page, climate. And here's the key fob on the vehicle. It's still the same Alfa Romeo key fob, nothing new there. You can hit this twice to remote start the engine. Alfa Romeo badge on the back, and it says Alfa Romeo down here. But overall, it's a nice vehicle to drive. You know, if you like Alfa Romeos, you'll like this vehicle. It's a pretty good looking car and good to drive. Good transmission, and has more than enough acceleration for most people, you know, for driving every day. But thanks for watching another video of Drew Drives. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and be sure to check out the link to Grubb's family dealerships in the description below if you'd like to shop for nice pre-owned vehicles like this Alfa Romeo.